I've been getting a handful of questions over the past few weeks about podcast analytics. What's my podcast analytics? What key metrics do I look for when it comes to my podcast analytics? Podcast analytics, podcast analytics, podcast analytics. Oh my gosh. So here's the crazy thing that's going to shock a lot of you, especially if you're a B2B marketing professional. I don't really care about podcast analytics. I've even been on podcast interviews where the host will ask me about my podcast analytics, and I straight up tell them that I don't really look at those metrics, and I don't recall the last time I checked my podcast analytics. Seriously. But I will say this. I'm a CEO that gets B2B marketing, and I see value in podcasting. It's very important to podcast, whether you're a creator or you have a company page, or for your company, it's very important to have your own podcast show. For me personally, I don't focus on podcast analytics. I use my podcast show, The Asus McDonald Experience, for personal branding and it's an aspect of business networking, and I use it for LinkedIn and YouTube. If it wasn't for podcasting, I wouldn't be able to have the content that I currently have for my LinkedIn profile and for my YouTube channel, which has also sparked ideas for blog posts, which I'm not really spending a lot of time on. It's really been on my LinkedIn content strategy more than ever. But I wouldn't have the content that I have. I think the right questions to be asking is, one, does my podcast show provide value to my audience? And then two, if you're doing podcast interviews, am I bringing guests on my show that my audience want to hear from? I think if the answer is yes for both, then you're doing a great job. But it's a top of mind strategy for me. It's a personal branding approach for me. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. As a reminder, the links are below, and you can watch this full podcast episode on YouTube, or you can listen on your favorite podcasting app.